Yeah, it's just so much easier for the batters. Come on, now. Let's just put it.
It is, because if you get out early, you can actually rest the whole day.
It's time again for ESPN Cricinfo Run Order. And after just watching those first 2 or 2.5 days of cricket in that first test, you can't help but feel for India's fast bowlers, India's bowlers, generally everything to do with India. It was a tough first couple of days. And therefore, it begs the question, should we start some sort of rotation policy for India the way England have so efficiently and rather in advance put out their rotation policies on player workload management? Let's get Ian Bell, Gautam Gambhir, Nikhil Nas, Justin Salgado and Gaurav Sundara Raman to dive in deep on this. And let's start with Ian Bell, because England seem to have shown the way. Why wait for a problem belly? Put a rigorous workload plan in place and keep rotating the squad around. Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got mixed reports at home sometimes, certainly with the likes of Josh Buttler playing one test match now and then going home. I think certainly against an India series, you want to play your best 11. I think it is the right thing, especially for your three format players. So for Stokes and JOFRA in particular, with England and Buttler, those guys have to be looked after, with T20 World Cups and all the cricket they're going to play in. But I think with England's policy as such, it's not necessarily about the physical side, it's the mental side. It's making sure the people in these bubbles, where they're locked away as such and just playing cricket, that they can get out, have some family time, get away, re-energise and come back in. So I think there is a balance to be had.
Now, Gautam, I don't see too many batsmen wanting to be rested from that second Chennai test.
Not really. I would rather, if I have to rest people, I would definitely consider the formats. If you think the test series is more important, I would rather play my best playing 11 in 4 test matches and then probably rest them in T20 cricket, because you anyways play a lot of T20 cricket, especially India, because you've got IPL, you've got so many other series which goes on. So probably in test cricket, I would definitely try and have my best players and then probably rotate them, or the workload management, as you've just mentioned. It has to be probably for one-day cricket or T20 cricket.
The reason this topic comes up is sometimes centered only around one player, with due respect to everyone else. But when BUMRAH bowls as much as he does, you're always worried, my God, will BUMRAH break down? Will India not have BUMRAH when they need him most? And Gautam, you mentioned when we were doing our coverage on day 2 of this test match that you're already considering that BUMRAH may need a rest from the second test in Chennai.
Yeah, because he's played a lot of test cricket as well, and plus his action as well. See, again, he's not someone who's got a very easy going action and stuff, and BUMRAH, that can be very, very important for Indian cricket, especially in test cricket. So it's not about actually probably just resting him for 2 test matches. If you want to give him a break, probably give him a break in white ball cricket. So I would definitely have BUMRAH in red ball cricket, because that is probably the most important format for me. Because anyways, BUMRAH doesn't need to play international T20 cricket, because India anyways play IPL, which is as competitive as any international series.
Imagine ringing up the Mumbai Indians and saying, yeah, we want BUMRAH for the full England series, so he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the IPL. What are the chances of that happening, Dustin?
Not likely, but I'd be interested to see if teams start using sports technology. You have these wearables these days that can monitor, all sorts of different parameters and actually tell you whether a person is performing at the highest level or are they fatigued. Although I think you have to switch off the heart rate monitor when you're watching Rishabh Pant bat. That's the only thing.
Firstly, I'm really surprised, Ronak, that we have such amiable cricketers nowadays which agree for rotation policy. Now, come on, just imagine, I wouldn't want to be the guy telling one between Wasim and Waqar that, listen, let's rotate. Or be the guy telling this to, let's say, a McGraw, Brett Lee, or even Anil Kumble and Harbhajan Singh that, let's rotate. Firstly, this bunch or the current generation is very amiable. Now, if I've got Ashish Nehra and a Zahir Khan in my team, I'm going to force a rotation policy on them per se. But if I've got a naturally gifted fast bowler in let's say a Kapil Dev or probably a Glenn McGrath who don't break down too often, maybe allow them to play a little longer. So it's also personality driven, not definitely the way England have gone as in pre-deciding what they're going to do beforehand. That may not be the best way.
So I think the number of all-format players for India are far fewer than England, for example. You have just Kohli, BUMRAH, Rohit maybe, who play all the 3 formats consistently. So it's basically only Bumrah we are talking about. Literally, even Jadeja also has a break now. So it's just Bumrah, and I'm sure, like most of people have said in this panel, that Bumrah will be rested at some point in time. Ideally, maybe the ODI series. The ODI is the least important format in the next 2-3 years, because we have 2 T20 World Cups coming up. So I think the ODIs is a good time to rest Bumrah.
Okay, can rest at times become a little contrary to what the interest of the sportsman is? Belly, when it comes to either batsmen or fast bowlers, sometimes do you tend to overcompensate or be overcautious on resting key players?
Yeah, as a batsman, I would never want to be rested. If I'm in good form, I want to keep batting, and I think you only stay in that place from and improve by actually being out in the middle, especially international cricket. You don't want to be missing that for a while. And as we said, 50 over cricket at the moment is probably the least important. So again, if I was having that selection, it would probably be, I'd be leaving Jos Buttler out of the 50 over competition, but I'd want him there for every test match in India at the moment. I'm sure he will want to be there for these next 3 test matches, because at the end he's only coming home to be in lockdown in England. Again, we're in lockdown here, we're not doing anything. So I would have thought at the moment, yes, he gets to come home, see his family, but I'd imagine he's probably going to get up every morning at 3 o'clock and watch what the lads are doing anyway. So he'd probably desperately want to be there.
If I could ask someone who's experienced this firsthand, what did Gautam make of that rotational policy in Australia? Rotate the 3 openers. He'd be able to tell us better.
Headache. I don't absolutely not agree with any such kind of rotation policy, because if you're not good enough, then you should be on the plane back to India. If you're good enough, you should be playing all the test matches. So there is nothing called rotation for a batsman. And I agree with Belly, what Belly exactly just said, that when you're in good form, you don't want to be rested. Yes, I can understand now with being in a bubble, it could actually affect your mental space. But then before this COVID and lockdown, I don't think so. Any of the batter would actually have a lot of workload by scoring runs. You want to score as many runs as you can. If you ask Joe Root today, I don't think so anyone else has batted as long as Joe Root has done in 3 test matches. Would he want to have a break? Never. He would want to have another probably 30 test matches in this kind of a form.
Yeah, it's just so much easier for the batters. Come on, man. Let's just put it.
It is, because if you get out early, you can actually rest the whole day.
We're the smart ones. We're the clever ones. See, the ones that aren't are the bowlers.
Yeah. You guys were particularly smart. You didn't even bowl any part-time stuff. You were far and far
But
away.
I stood at short. Me and Belly stood at short leg for a very long time.
Yeah, that's
another workload.
Not a good idea.
Okay, brilliant. We're going to wrap this up. India have a packed couple of years. You can bet on some sort of rotation coming in. I will end this run order with one simple question to everyone. Who needs to be rotated for Kuldeep Yadav to play in the 11?